Democratic Party. Always been up hate, ladies and gentlemen. I know what I'm talking about. The truth about the KKK. For the younger generation that don't know, it's the party of the Democrats, soldiers. And what they out there doing now, they was doing in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, doing in the past. Let's compare the past to now. Let's go.
The Klan had three evolutions in its history as it evolved and altered its methods, tactics, and expanded its focus. All three movements have called for the purification of American society, and all are considered far-right extremist organizations. During each period of the Klan's existence, the official membership was secret, and estimates of the total numbers of members was unknown, and they were highly exaggerated by both friends and enemies alike. The first Klan was founded in Pulaski, Tennessee, on December.
Now, Pulaski, Tennessee, we all know about Willie Lynch when he came out with his letter, putting the black against the light, fat against the skinny. That was in Pulaski, Tennessee, too. Was that love for you or hate? No, I was wrong. His speech was on the James River in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? The Willie Lynch speech, also known as the Willie Lynch letter. You understand me? Willie Lynch delivered that. And when? On the banks of the James River in Virginia in 1712, regarding control of slaves within the colony. In recent years, it has been widely exposed as a hoax. It's a hoax now? Secretly controlling slaves. What do you say in the letter? Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch, the making of a slave. Willie Lynch. Let's get back to the program. Ladies and gentlemen.
December 24th, 1865, by 6 former officers of the Confederate Army. They were Frank McCord, Richard Reed, John Lester, John Kennedy, J. Calvin Jones, and James Crow. It started innocuously as a fraternal social club inspired at least in part by the then largely defunct Sons of Malta.
For teaching purposes only. For teaching purposes only, YouTube. Educational purposes. Educational purposes only. Let's go. Teaching history. Giving them a one-on-one, in-depth look of the origins of the KKK and how they funded the Democratic Party. All right, let's go.
Perceived as an offshoot combined of the old Knights Templar and Teutonic Knights.
The old Knight Templar. I told y'all about the Knights Templar and the Masons, right? We talked about that, right? The Knights Templar. There you go right here. The Knights Templar and Freemasons are a high-ranking Masonic body. but they have no direct historical connection to the origins. Medicville, Knights Templar, modern Masonic Knights Templar are a Christian oriented. Amazing, right? The original Knights Templar, the historical Knights Templar was a what? The Pope. It was suppressed by Pope Clement the Fifth in 1312. Y'all getting this one-on-one history lesson, ladies and gentlemen. What that uniform look like? I want y'all to see the Knights Templar uniform. Class. Y'all see the uniform, right? Knights Templar uniform. Yeah. Yeah. What that look like, y'all? Huh? What do that look like, ladies and gentlemen? The uniform. All got something to do with what? Christianity? They look like, yeah? What do the Knight Templars look like, yeah? What uniform they got on?
Templar and Teutonic, combined of the old Knights Templar and combined of the old Knights Templar and combined of the old Knights Templar, combined of the old Knights Templar, combined of the old Knights Templar and Teutonic, combined of the old Knights Templar and combined of the old Knights Templar and Teutonic Knights. The KKK adopted many of the initiation rites and formal ceremonies of those previous organizations with the same purpose of fraternity, solidarity, and most of all, political power, which today in hindsight is laughable as well as tragic. The official KKK manual describing these rituals was printed by Laps D. McCord of Pulaski, Tennessee.
The original Ku Klux Klan was founded in Pulaski, Tennessee on December 24th, 1865 by 6 former Confederate veterans. Mentioned the name McCoy, which is often mistakenly associated with the founders. The correct name is Frank O. McCord. Frank O. McCord. The 6 founders of the KKK were, there y'all have them, Frank O. McCord, John C. Lester, John B. Kennedy, J. Calvin Jones, James R. Crow, Richard R. Reed. What's your last name?
McCord of Pulaski, McCord of Pulaski, McCord of Pulaski, Tennessee. The Klan also needed a distinguishing uniform, which later in their history would become notorious, robes, and hence their adopting the Spanish capirote hood. Former Confederate Brigadier General George Gordon, for whom Fort Gordon, Georgia was named for, developed the prescript, which supported the superiority of white society and culture and adopted and taught white supremacist beliefs. They created the ranking system, and at the top of the KKK was the Imperial Wizard, or the National President. Below this were the Grand Dragons, who governed an individual state, called a realm. Then there were the Grand Magis, or Deputy Commanders, and then the Grand Cyclops, responsible under the Grand Dragons for establishing and maintaining recruitment standards. Below them were the Kleagles, who were managed and who were responsible for recruiting and vetting of new members. The rest of the members were the Klansmen, or the foot soldiers, and enforcers. Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest was elected the first Imperial Wizard, and stated that he was the Klan's national leader. Forrest was very concerned about the Republican influence growing among the blacks in the South. Despite its apparently well-structured appearance, the Klan had no membership rosters, no named chapters, and no listed local officers, so it was difficult to judge its membership. Due to the heavy response by President Andrew Johnson and the increasing numbers of federal soldiers into the southern states as a result, Forrest called for the Klan to disband in 1869. He stated that it was being perverted from its original honorable and patriotic purposes, becoming injurious instead of subservient to the public peace. Historian Stanley Horn argues that, generally speaking, the Klan's end was more in the form of spotty, slow, and gradual disintegration than a formal and decisive disbandment. Despite Gordon's and Forrest's work, local Klan units never accepted the prescript and continued to operate independently without any form of command and control. Historian George C. Rabel argues that the Klan declined in strength in part because of internal weaknesses, its lack of central organization, and the failure of its leaders to control criminal elements and sadists. More fundamentally, it declined because it failed to achieve its central objective, the overthrow of Republican state governments in the South. Historian Elaine France Parsons describes the membership, quote, "Lifting the Klan mask revealed a chaotic multitude of anti-black vigilante groups, disgruntled poor white farmers, wartime guerrilla bands, displaced Democratic politicians, illegal whiskey distillers, coercive moral reformers, sadists, rapists."
Who do that sound like now, ladies and gentlemen? What party? The party of weirdos and mooks? Who do it sound like, y'all? It's the past. But it's also the future of what's going on now. With who? The left. The Democratic Party known to teach hate. The origins of hate came from the left. Let's go.
White workmen fearful of black competition. Employers trying to enforce labor discipline, common thieves, neighbors with decades-old grudges, and even a few freedmen and white Republicans who allied with Democratic whites or had criminal agendas of their own. Indeed, all they had in common, besides being overwhelmingly white, Southern, and Democratic, was that they called themselves, or were called, Klansmen. Another historian, Eric Foner, observed, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party.
Look how they tried to cover that up, y'all. They said that's misleading. It was called the Klan bait in 1924. Y'all can do the history on it, but they tried to cover it up. But we got the facts. We got the facts. It's called the Klan bait, ladies and gentlemen. The Democratic plank. Klan bait, 1924. All right. In 1924. God damn it.
force serving the interests serving the interests of the Democratic Party, the planter class, and all those who desired restoration of white supremacy. Its purposes were political, but political in the broadest sense, for it sought to affect power relations, both public and private, throughout Southern society. It aimed to reverse the interlocking changes sweeping over the South during Reconstruction, to destroy the Republican Party's infrastructure, undermine the
For educational purposes only, YouTube. For educational purposes only.
Reconstruction state, reestablish control of the black labor force, and restore racial subordination in every aspect of Southern life. To that end, they worked to curb the education, economic advancement, voting rights, and right to keep and bear arms of black people. The Klan soon spread into nearly every Southern state, launching a reign of terror against Republican leaders, both black and white. Those political leaders assassinated during the campaign included Arkansas Congressman James M. Hines.
James Hines, ladies and gentlemen. James Hines was assassinated by the KKK. His assassination by the KKK. So we got a history, ladies and gentlemen. They got a history of violence, y'all. The left we talking about. They got a history of violence. Ladies and gentlemen. Known fact. You see? A known fact. That party is of the devil, and they're known to cause mass confusion, even death. They assassinated this man. Look, Haynes was there advocating for African Americans, African American men, acquired rights as citizens, and he was assassinated. Member of the House, Arkansas, 2nd District. He used to be a Democrat, then he switched over to a Republican. Y'all see that? Let's go back up here. Let's go. He was assassinated by devils. It was devils that assassinated James N. Hines. It was devils. God damn it. We go knee deep in this shit, don't we, y'all? Good bro right there.
Those political leaders assassinated during the campaign included Arkansas Congressman James M. Hines, 3 members of the South Carolina legislature, and several men who served in constitutional conventions. The Klan primarily focused upon suppressing black voters, and a political campaign often turned deadly, More
hate,
than 2,000 people were killed, wounded, or
hate.
otherwise injured in Louisiana in the few
The
weeks
party
leading
are
up to the
known to hate.
presidential election of November 1868. One example was in St. Landry Parish, which had a registered Republican majority of 1,071. The Klan's efforts proved effective because after the murders, no Republicans voted in the fall elections. White Democrats cast the full vote of the parish for General Ulysses S. Grant's opponent.
Who did?
Democrats cast the White Democrats cast the full 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 vote White Democrats cast the full vote of the parish for General Ulysses S. Grant's opponent, Democrat Horatio Seymour. The KKK also killed and wounded more than 200 black Republicans hunting and chasing them down. In the governor's race in Columbia County, Georgia, 1,222 votes were cast for Republican Rufus Bullock, so the Klan got involved. By the November presidential election, the Klan's intimidation suppressed the Republican vote, and only one person voted for Grant. As a result, the 1871 Civil Rights Act allowed the president to suspend habeas corpus. This means that the traditional right to be brought before a court or a judge to appeal for bail or challenge an unlawful detention could be suspended, and was in fact suspended by Lincoln during the Civil War. During this period, the Florida Freedmen's Bureau records provided a detailed recounting of Klansmen's beatings and murders of freedmen and their white allies, numbering 150 dead in voting intimidations. As a result of these actions, in 1870 and 1871, the federal government passed the Enforcement Acts, which were intended to investigate and prosecute Klan crimes. While racism was a core belief of the Klan, initially anti-Semitism was not. Many prominent Southern Jews identified wholly with Southern culture, resulting in examples of Jewish participation in the Klan until they too were included as targets. The second era of the Klan started in 1915 as a small group in Stone Mountain, Georgia. It expanded membership nationwide in the early and mid-1920s, including urban areas of the Midwest and West, with Kansas being a large Klan stronghold. The various independent Klan organizations often took a position of supporting prohibition and compulsory public education for white children, although blacks were not to be educated if possible, and if they were, only in segregated schools. The Klan received its greatest propaganda boost of its entire history when film director D.W. Griffith released his 1915 silent film, The Birth of a Nation, which took great liberties with the truth surrounding the creation and activities of the first Klan. The Klan was resurrected by William Joseph Simmons in Georgia due to the popularity of the film. Simmons relied on the original founding documents from the original Klan and collected the stories, relying upon the memories of some surviving elders. When the film was shown in Atlanta in December of 1915, Simmons and his new Klansmen paraded to the theater in their robes and pointed hoods, even riding on robed horses, imitating those scenes in the film. In the film, the Klan was represented as white knights of the nation's conscience, protecting white virtue and white women from the ravaging sexually aggressive Negro. The public response was very positive as a result, but the film did not mention lynchings, other murders, and voter intimidation. Within the first 6 months of the association's national recruitment campaign, Klan membership had increased by 85,000 by 1920. By the mid-1920s, the organization's membership ranged from 3 to 8 million members. The Klan also began to become deeply involved in politics, even more so than in the 1860s to 1870s, as they knew that they needed pro-Klan Democratic members in state and federal government to block Republican, as they knew that they needed pro-Klan Democratic members in state and federal government to block Republican actions targeting their organization. They needed politicians who would support Jim Crow laws and keep the federal government out of their business. They were described as being the acting military arm of the Democratic Party and were attributed with helping white Democrats regain control of state legislatures throughout the South through voter intimidation and ridiculous literacy and cognitive tests against black voters. In 1923, Simmons was ousted as leader of the KKK by Hiram Wesley Evans. From September 1923, there were 2 Klan organizations, the one founded by Simmons and led by Evans in the southern United States, and a separate group led by Grand Dragon D.C. Stevenson based in Indiana, with its membership primarily in the Midwestern United States. However, despite their rather successful advances into the political arena, public opinion was against the Klan, and membership rapidly declined in the latter half of the 1920s. Infighting from various Klan groups, as well as federal law enforcement opposition, brought about a collapse in the membership of both groups. Membership had dropped to about 30,000 by 1930, and finally faded away in the 1940s. The third incarnation of the Klan was resurrected in the early 1950s in the form of localized and isolated groups that used the KKK brand name locally but had no connected affiliation. They opposed the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, such as when they fought against Brown versus Board of Education and imposed separate but equal as their justification. During this period, they often infiltrated Southern police departments, schools, and governor's offices, such as George Wallace of Alabama. Several members of the Klan groups had beaten the Freedom Riders in 1961, murdered civil rights workers, such as Medgar Evers, by Klansman Byron Della Beckwith in 1963. Some were convicted of murder in the deaths of civil rights workers in Mississippi in 1964, and of children in the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963, and killing Viola Liuzzi.
Is that love for you or hate? God damn it. Is that love for you or hate?
In 1965. These activities saw the KKK classified as a hate group by the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center. The final demise of the original Klan arrived in the form of a senseless murder of 19-year-old black male Michael Donald in 1981 and a trial that made history in Alabama. In 1987, the Klan was successfully sued in federal court in a historic $7 million verdict against the men involved in the lynching of Donald. But Robert K. Byrd, the Democratic leader and longtime senator, was a Klan recruiter in the 1940s. He described the organization as a group of upstanding people, doctors, lawyers, clergy, judges, who he thought could provide an outlet for his talents and ambitions, and also supported his opposition to communism. Byrd claimed to have left the KKK in 1946, but encouraged by the Grand Dragon of his KKK branch, and with Klan money, Byrd ran on the Democratic ticket for both state and federal offices. The Klan funded him throughout his career. Byrd opposed Brown versus Board of Education, supported Jim Crow laws, and separate but equal racial laws. He joined James Strom Thurmond Sr., who also helped him in opposing racial equality laws, also opposed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and ran with Klan money. Byrd called civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. as a self-seeking rabble-rouser. Both Hillary Clinton and Joseph Biden proudly proclaimed Senator Robert K. Byrd to be their mentor. Wow. Buildings still carry Byrd's name in exaltation.
Wow.
The United States government still considers the Klan to be a subversive terrorist organization. Currently, the Anti-Defamation League puts total KKK membership nationwide. Byrd called civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. as a self-seeking rabble-rouser. Both Hillary Clinton and Joseph Biden proudly proclaimed Senator Robert K. Byrd to be their mentor. Hillary Clinton and Joseph Biden proudly proclaimed Senator Robert K. Byrd to be their mentor. Buildings still carry Byrd's name in exaltation. The United States government still considers the Klan to be a subversive terrorist organization. Currently, the Anti-Defamation League puts total KKK membership nationwide at around 3,000, while the Southern Poverty Law Center claims 6,000 members in total. The Ku Klux Klan became notoriously immortalized by its actions, origins, and total creation by the Democratic Party, which supported and funded Klan activities to include political and criminal enterprises. By the Democratic Party, which supported and funded Klan activities to include political and total creation by the Democratic Party, 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 which supported and funded Klan activities to include political and criminal enterprises. Remember this when you hear people claim that Republicans are fascists. Republicans were hated and targeted by the Klan. Hear people claim that when you hear people claim that Republicans are fascists. Republicans when you hear people claim that Republicans are fascists. Republicans were hated and targeted when you hear people claim that Republicans are fascists. Republicans were hated and targeted by the Klan. Republicans were hated and targeted by the Republicans were hated and targeted by the Klan. Republicans were hated and targeted by the Klan. Republicans were hated and targeted by the Klan, and for good reason.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Hold. When you're ready, on you. Ready? Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. All guys here. All guys here. Move to the stair. Stair, get ready. Stair, get ready. Are we ready? Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move? We're clear. We're clear. We're clear.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold on, your head is bloody.
So we gotta move to the bus. Let me get my shoes. Okay, my shoes down.
Watch out.
George, we are learning new details this morning. Officials say this is where the suspect was camped out for nearly 12 hours in those bushes. Just over those hedges is the golf course. A Secret Service agent just one hole ahead, spotting the barrel of a rifle sticking out.
Keep walking!
Overnight, new body camera video showing the moment officers arrested the 58-year-old man they say camped out on Donald Trump's golf course for 12 hours, allegedly trying to assassinate him.
What's your name, Austin? Ryan?
Trump was moving across the fairway near the fifth hole. A Secret Service agent yelling out gun, spotting a barrel of a rifle sticking out from the fence.
All of a sudden we heard shots being fired in the air, and I guess probably 4 or 5, and it sounded like bullets, but what do I know about that? The Secret Service knew immediately it was bullets, and they grabbed me.
The former president recounting it all during an online conversation on the platform X, formerly known as Twitter.
I was with an agent, and the agent did a fantastic job.
Secret Service immediately surrounding Trump and taking him to a safe location. Sources say agents fired 4 to 6 rounds.
The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent. With reports of gunfire, the former president's close protection detail immediately evacuated the president to a safe location.
That suspect, Ryan Ralph, taking off on foot, jumping into a black Nissan SUV. A witness spotting him driving off, taking a picture of the license plate number and alerting police.
He was smart. He was just driving with the flow of traffic. Yeah, I think that he may have thought he got away with it.
45 minutes later, police tracked down the suspect traveling northbound on I-95.
Driver! Take 2 steps to your right!
You can see him exiting the vehicle, taken into custody, appearing in court Monday facing 2 felony gun charges. Authorities say he had a loaded SKS, a Soviet-style semi-automatic rifle with scope, a digital camera, a backpack, and a bag containing food. This is now the second attempt on the former president's life in just 9 weeks, raising serious questions about how an armed man was able to get within 400 yards of Trump under heightened security protocol. The acting director of the Secret Service admitting that his agents did not search the perimeter of the golf course, explaining that the president wasn't even really supposed to go there. Was the golf course searched thoroughly before the former president's arrival?
So at this time, it was an off-the-record movement, meaning it was not on the former president's official schedule.
And was there any evidence to suggest that the suspect knew that Donald Trump was going to be on that golf course at that time?
Based on what I know now, and it's an active investigation, I don't have any information on that.
The Secret Service promising the highest levels of protection for the former president. Trump and President Biden speaking by phone.
It was very nice that he called up to make sure I was okay, to make sure that, do I have any suggestions?
But Trump blaming his political opponents. Still, Democrats, from President Biden to Vice President Kamala Harris, were quick to condemn political violence.
Let me just say, there is no, and I mean this from the
Democrats.
bottom of my heart, those of you who know me, many of you do, no place in political violence in America. None. Zero. Never.
Now, why did he do that to Abraham Lincoln? John Booth. They said John Booth was a Democrat. And we all know Abraham Lincoln was a Republican who freed the slaves. John Booth was a Democrat. Do the research. I'll do it for y'all. Oh, John Booth right there, y'all. There he is. He's the one that put one in the back of Abe. I mean, he was the one that pushed Abe shit back. But a lot of people say he was a Democrat. Let's go see, y'all.
Here we go. Is that love? Is that love for you or hate? If I'm teaching you to love yourself as you should, as a brother, you don't charge me with teaching hate among you, huh? What are you arguing about then? Defend our brother and our brother's wife, and he, in turn, trying to defend mine. Defend our woman, protect our woman, and love your black brother as you love your black self. If I teach you that, can you say I'm teaching hate? No. What are you charging me with hate? What are you charging me with hate teaching? Here a few weeks ago, every scared, rabbit blood like man jumped up after me, calling me a hate teacher. And for 25 years, I've been teaching you. You never called me a hate teacher until a white man called me one. As soon as they branded me as a hate teacher, they didn't have to publish that but one time. You never have tried to say anything of the good that I'm doing for you. But you've taken a hold of all the evil that they charge me with. Flying through the streets, closing your door. Some as old race hate people. What race are we teaching you to hate? If we are teaching you to love yourself, and we are proving it, here I have thousands of followers throughout the country. Hundreds of thousands. What are you talking about? I'm teaching hate. How can I teach hate to these people? I'm so sick of a lot of old coward people, I don't know what to do. Sitting around in our midst. Sitting around in our midst. To run back and tell the white man, he's teaching hate. He teach that you the devil. I want to say to you, I'm not teaching you to hate the white man. Love him, mister. Love, love, love. Love him. It's up to you. But I'm telling you that that day is over, and I don't see that sun rising anymore. The bing pig, the bing pig, the bing pig, the bing pig, walked upon, spit upon, linked, hurried, weighted down in chains and balls of iron, sold from one plantation to another for 3 long centuries. Now overnight you love your slave master so well that you defy God to even talk about removing them from the planet. And will kill all of his prophets and messengers if they talk about the white man is not to live forever, or that the white man is the devil. Even though God says so, don't you say so. Because I love him. Love him, mister. Love him, but go back and read. The Bible says that the devil will be destroyed and all of his followers.
Yes, the Bible states that God will destroy Satan and his followers. According to the book of Revelation, Satan will be cast into a lake of fire, suffer, and a final judgment will condemn those who have rejected Christ to the same eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. The devil came in Revelation 22. So the devil being thrown into a lake of fire and sulfur, where he will be tormented day and night, forever and ever. This is the final punishment after 1,000-year punishment. Wow. Revelations. Evil will finally and completely be destroyed. God damn it.